And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the main card with your man, The Voice. As always, in the opposite corner, my mano imano, my verbal sparring partner, my inside out fashion trend follower, Will just
Come on, man.
I got on the red. You got on the white. I got white. I mean red with a little bit of white. I can't find it with a little bit of white. You got white with a little bit of red. You know,
we doing our thing, man. It's matching day. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the main card. It's your man Will just roughing here. We're here with the man, the myth, the legend. He ain't calling today, but he got on some kind of red St. Louis hat on because he wanted to be like me. It's the Voice. Voice, how you doing, man?
Oh man, as I shared with you earlier, I'm just here so I don't get fined. And the fine is I'm not letting all this good work go to waste.
There we go. Well, we got some great things to get into, man. There's always smoke o'clock when the two of us on your screen, man. We got a great show for y'all today. We're going to get into some KOs and low blows. We're going to do the show a little bit differently today, so you'll notice as we go along. So let us know how you feel. Make sure you share your comments. Make sure you tell us what you think about each segment. Let us know what it is. But let's go ahead and get into it, Voice. You ready?
Yes, sir.
KOs and low blows. Let's go. Now, Voice, January 24th, Las Vegas, the T-Mobile Arena. Paramount Plus goes live with its first UFC card, and they didn't just bring a fight night. They brought a statement. Now, headlining, you got Justin Gaethje and Paddy the Baddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title. Now, that's chaos versus charisma, violence versus vibe. Gaethje, the man who's built a career on turning octagons into demolition sites, and Pimblett, who the fighter who's turned hype in headlines, and now he has a chance to really turn it into gold. And if that wasn't enough, the co-main event is pure legacy versus destiny. Kayla Harrison is defending her bantamweight belt against Amanda Nunes. Harrison, the new queen in the division, is standing across from a woman that many are calling the greatest female fighter of all time. And Nunes is back. She's not just here for nostalgia. She's wanted to claim what's hers. But the card doesn't stop there, Voice. We got Sean O'Malley versus Son Young Dong. Those fireworks are waiting to happen. Derek Lewis versus Waldo Cortez Acosta, heavyweights who don't believe in decisions, only knockouts. And then you sprinkle in an Allen versus Silva and a Magomedov versus Figueroa. And suddenly, this isn't just a fights card. It's more like a mixtape of violence curated for maximum impact to say, hey, we're here on Paramount Plus. Now, Voice, this is UFC planting its flag on Paramount Plus, saying if you thought the ESPN era was big, wait until you see what's next. So, UFC 324, Voice, when you first heard about it, what were your thoughts, and how big of a statement is this card?
My first thoughts were Paddy and Gaethje at the top. Like, it's not a title fight. And then I found out it was for the interim title. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense, especially seeing as soon before or just after the announcement was made, the champ, Topuria, said, look, I'm not fighting in the first quarter of the year. I got things I need to get to. Things going through a messy divorce right now. It's like I need to be with my kids. You know, I need to focus. So, you know, good on him for doing that. But an interim title fight when you have, like you stated, the GOAT or the GOATs, the one who really put that term on the map, or let me not say put it on the map, but took that title from Cyborg, and I really don't see anybody, you know, take it, or I should say, it's going to be hard for someone to take it from her. Even if Kayla wins, it's going to be hard for someone to take that GOAT title away from Amanda Nunes, a lady who stepped out and was like, look, I beat everybody. There's nothing to do. I'm going to chill for a minute. Now she's coming back to face the woman who ran her out of her gym. Let's be real. They were training at ATT together. when Kayla started coming up, even though she was fighting for the PFL, even though she was fighting 2 weight classes or 1, depending on which title you're talking about, ahead of Amanda, she could see the writing on the wall, and she knew that this day was coming. That's the fight. And I've heard some people talk about the fact that it's a disgrace that this is the co-main event. I won't say it's a disgrace. It makes sense to me that this would be a headlining fight. As a matter of fact, this is probably the first time in forever that Amanda has been on a card and not been the headline. So that says a lot. When Ronda came back, they headlined and said absolutely nothing about Amanda for Amanda to go in and blow her out and send her off into oblivion. So it's interesting that that's a co-main and not the main.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe as time goes on, there'll be a little pressure. They'll say, you know what, we probably should flip it around, make it the other way. I don't know, but this card is phenomenal. And not only is this card phenomenal, they are coming right back with another now PLE, because that's what it is, since there's no more pay-per-view, with another PLE the following week, headlined by a rematch between Volkanovski and Diego Lopez. A fight that, Volkanovski won pretty clearly the first go around. It's not like Lerone Murphy isn't out there. It's not like Movsar Evloev is not out there. Although there's been some interesting back and forth between those two recently, with Lerone saying, look, this dude keeps talking greasy, so I'm going to show how I knocked him out in training, which is the craziest thing in the world. Joe, talk about what happens in the gym. What happens in the gym happens in sparring, supposed to stay in sparring. But he's like, look, he talking too much, so since you talking, I'm talking. So I guess it's fair game. Either way it goes, it was looked at by most fans like one of those two people will be up next, but nope. We have this rematch with Diego Lopez, probably because they feel like it's more marketable and they want to make as big a statement as possible as they are entering this new platform. I'm all for it. I can't wait to be seated in Fight Central watching these events take place.
It definitely created a lot of buzz. And I got to ask before we move on, and you said it, they're looking to make a big statement. Does this give you a different, with what they're leading in with, does this give you a completely different feel that UFC is going into a completely different era in comparison to ESPN? Or do you feel like it's just more of like the consistent same type of bouts that most people are seeing? Because I've seen some of the comments saying like, oh, they're going really big, it's new money here. And then other people saying, oh, it's just a little bit more of the same.
It's a combination of both. So whenever the UFC goes onto a new platform, they pull out all the stops. So that is nothing new. The fact that we're getting, these nice big fights back to back, again, it's nice, but it's more of the same. Have we seen, like fight cards stacked like this in a while? No, but we've seen them before. Do I expect that fight cards are going to stay stacked like this? No. They're going to go back to what they normally do, which is, towards the end, they're giving you enough, or they're really going all out because they're trying to get that extra money. We'll see how all of this works, because with pay-per-view being off the table, that was the one thing that made the ESPN time frame, I can't even say that. It goes all the way back to Fox. When they started on Fox, they were just throwing out card after card after card after card because they had so many that they had to do. I remember them doing 2 cards on the same day. So with this new schedule, it's going to be interesting to see, because I think they have the same number of cards and there's just not enough talent to put on bangers every single week, with the number with what they have to fulfill from a contractual standpoint. Uh, will the PLEs tail off? Because they sure did. The pay-per-views tailed off under ESPN because there was guaranteed money now. So it's just like, okay, well, we got to give you something. Here's something. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this works out because it is their biggest deal once again, but you can only get your biggest deal every so often, and at some point things have to turn. And I think that this is the contract that most likely turns things for the UFC, where they get back to the kind of matchmaking that made most fight fans fall in love with what they were doing.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll definitely we'll be on the lookout. If there's any updates, tune into the main card. Make sure you check in also on TikTok. Any kind of updates. Sometimes Voice will drop a real quick video, man. Share some knowledge with y'all. Share some updates. Make sure y'all follow along for any kind of updates going on. Now, moving on from an announcement to a rumor. Tank Davis, Kid Austin. Now, the rumor's not just floating around. It's catching fire. If you've been on X lately, you've seen the smoke turn into flames. Now, Floyd Schofield Sr. didn't hold back, calling for his son, Kid Austin, to get Tank in the ring. He's been loud about it, saying that this is the fight that the sport needs. And Kid Austin himself, he's been just as bold previously, dropping lines like, I should have gotten Tank before Lamont Roach. And that's not just confidence. It's kind of been a direct challenge. Now, meanwhile, Tank hasn't really been, innocent in all this either. He's been playing his own games on social media, including mocking Kid Austin through some of his fights and through some of the things that he's seen previously. Now, that's Tank, taunting, stirring, making sure the conversation stays centered on him. But then, Voice, there's a bigger rumor that we've been hearing. Whispers that Tank's retirement talk might be less about walking away and more about avoiding one man in particular, Kid Austin. Now, whether that's fact or fiction, it's kind of storyline that makes the boxing feel like theater. So we're here for it. The statements flying, posts trending, fans are debating. If this fight happens, it's not just about belts, it's about pride and proving who owns the moment. So, Voice, what are your thoughts on this back and forth? And is it just noise, or could we see this bout happen?
Anything's possible. As to whether or not it's noise or the prelude of something to come remains to be seen. The fact that, and as we were talking off air before the show got started, the fact that Tank hasn't come out and said cap, because he's real good for doing that when something is not what he believes that it is to be, or is not as it is, like cap, and calling people a whole bunch of names that I'm not going to repeat because I love the Lord. But I haven't seen too much of that, which to me makes it feel as if this has legs. I think that the whole retirement talk may have gotten pushed back a little bit because the Jake fight fell through. Had that happened, then there really would be no reason for him to fight. Not that he hasn't made money, not that he doesn't have things in place, but all these lawsuits you keep racking up, it kind of makes you need to get back in there and do something to recoup that money. Whether he can or will, though, that's really the question. He was supposed to be fighting at like 160 pounds, and he definitely has not been training. For you to now work your way back down to the 135 range, that's going to take some discipline that you definitely have not been employing. Mr. I'm in the strip club a week before my fight. It's like just craziness. So anything's possible. And that's one thing that is shorter than the life of a goldfish is a fighter's retirement. Fighters' memories of saying that they were going to retire is shorter than the life of a goldfish. So, we'll see what happens. Is it interesting conversation? Yeah, that's why we're talking about it now. But until we see that contracts have been signed. Until press conferences happen, until they walk into the squared circle, it's just talk.
Yeah, I think over time Tank's credibility with a lot of people has kind of slid down, and even with this Jake Paul cancellation recently, it's done even more. He hasn't really said much, so it'll be interesting to see. But Kid also said that he's ready, so we'll definitely have any updates also here. Make sure that you keep a lookout on the main card, KOs and low blows, when we provide you any kind of updates or if we get any kind of signed contract. So I'm sure Lamont Roach has something else that he wants to say about this also. We're going to take a quick. Go ahead.
Hold on. He's going to say something when the press conferences come up within a couple weeks well, not a couple weeks. This fight is next week. So that he's going to say something about that. Kid Austin and his father are great storytellers, wonderful storytellers. And to say that Tank was looking to retire because he's trying to avoid Kid Austin is such a wonderful, wonderful story to tell.
Definitely. Hey, whatever gets him talking. Definitely keep tuned for that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, man, we're going to get into some Survivor Series talk. We'll be right back. The main card.
All right, we are back at it again. It's the main card, and the main card is just that. It is the main card. It is your preview, your fight bulletin, or your beatdown bulletin, however you want to handle it, for all of the combat sports that are coming your way for the week. This week, the combat sports that are dominating the headlines happen to be the pro wrestling men. So that's how we're going. That's what we are discussing. And starting off with the card that has the most buzz, that has everybody talking about it, surely due to the star power that's in the card. I mean, you got Brock Lesnar, you have CM Punk, you have Cody Rhodes, you have the Usos, you have the Vision, you have all these people coming together and fighting one another in these bloody war games. Speaking of blood, ever since the war games format has been instituted, members of the faction of the bloodline have been associated with it. So all 5 years you have bloodline members. This one is no different. As we stated before, we got the Usos, we got the tribal chief. We have these people that are doing their thing in the ring during war games. What do you attribute this specific thread to? That, again, for the past 5 years, ever since this thing has happened, the bloodline has been a part of.
The bloodline is literally the biggest thing in professional wrestling, whether you want to admit to it or not. Roman Reigns is the top star in the industry, and sometimes when you feel like you don't have much or you want to continue something, you go back to the well. And in this case, a lot of fans have been clamoring more for Roman Reigns. We've seen him work a slower schedule. We've also seen the arrival of Jey Uso, where, people like it or not, you know how people do with the IWC. Once somebody gets big, now all of a sudden we have to dislike him. That's what we're seeing a lot with Jey Uso. But also, everyone who is involved in this match in somehow, some way, is or has been intertwined in the bloodline saga. You have Roman, Jay, and Jimmy, who were a part of the bloodline. You have Roman, you have Paul Heyman, who was the wise man for the bloodline. Then you have the likes of CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes. These are all individuals, Drew McIntyre. These are all individuals who have been a part of the bloodline story in somehow, some way. And then you're introducing division as almost a transition, so to speak. But the bloodline being there is no shock because with the War Games matches, you want your biggest stars in those biggest moments, and War Games is that moment. And leave it to Cody, who said, listen, War Games is my birthright. We all know his father, Dusty Rhodes, started War Games. So this is something that Cody Rhodes is excited for. And it's probably a highly star-studded match that's not only going to take us into Royal Rumble, but I believe it's probably going to take us well into WrestleMania season. If you saw Roman's comments on Monday Night at Raw when he stated that belt looks a lot better on me.
Okay. With that being said, you spoke of the genesis of the War Games with the man, who my dad was just a plumber, being Dusty Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
Question is, at least in this new iteration, with all the stars that we've just talked about, is this the biggest one?
You can argue that based off the star power alone. Each year they're going to tell you that this is the biggest War Games that we've ever seen. Is this probably the one with the most star power? Arguably, yes. Each year the goal is for them to outdo the one from the previous year. And when you look at some of the previous years that we've seen War Games, we've seen CM Punk's return to War Games. We've seen Sami Zayn literally align himself fully with the Bloodline and turn against Kevin Owens. You saw the Four Horsemen go at it in the inaugural War Games. The War Games matches are always a prelude to something even bigger, and is a transition into the next season of what's going to happen within the championship title scene. And you're seeing that more. Now, I don't know about Brock Lesnar, but if you've seen the WrestleMania videos, every person who's in that War Games match is in that WrestleMania video. So it's kind of a prelude to be like, hey, you're seeing all these people now fighting War Games. Ultimately, I believe this is going to be a setup for your headline WrestleMania matches for night 1 and night 2.
Okay. Fair enough. And that's good to know. Like you said, things keep getting bigger and bigger. I don't know. To me, this feels huge because of Brock's involvement. I mean, anytime you have Brock Lesnar anywhere, he's just a larger than life kind of person. And he brings that same level of cachet and attention to the things that he's doing. Now, moving on, that's not the only War Games that there is. There's a female version, and it pits AJ Lee and her band of Merry Misfits against Becky Lynch and the Heels. Now, I don't think that AJ Lee is against heels. I think she probably has a bunch of high heels in her closet, but she's going after those individuals who are the ones that normally get the boos. With that being said, though, you have a number of people again that are participating in it, but you have someone who's making their big show debut, who's standing right beside AJ in this image, and that is none other than Lash Legend. Mm-hmm. How much pressure is on her, seeing as this is her debut and she's debuting in such a big spot?
That's a good question. So first off, the first thing you said about AJ Lee in the Hills. AJ Lee is punk rock. As an AJ Lee fan, I probably admit she probably has more Converse in her closet than heels, so she might be against the heels. Now, as far as Lash Legend,
got some heels in her closet. Punk rock and not. She probably got some Converse heels.
Might be. Now, as far as Lash Legend, I don't think there's any pressure on her. Lash is coming into a great spot. She's been booked so far, literally as a monster. We've seen her do everything from choke out Alexa Bliss to lay out Rhea Ripley, which is huge because that tells you how important Lash Legend is. If you're not familiar with Lash Legend, she's been an NXT superstar for the past 2-3 years. Actually, shout out to her. At the time of this recording, she was just announced to be engaged to Trick Williams also, so congratulations to the couple. But Lash is a star. She is a former NCAA standout. She holds a record, I believe, at Baylor or either Baylor or Texas A&M for rebounds for a year. But Lash is a star, and she's shown that consistently throughout her time in NXT. Now, a lot of people are like, "Well, she didn't win a championship." Well, if you're being honest with yourself, Bianca Belair didn't win a championship either, and she came up to the main roster. She was booked strongly, and she's done some amazing things also. I love the fact that they paired her with Nia Jax, especially after the matches that they actually had in NXT right before this. But to me, the big thing is they're aligning her in a way with they're aligning her in a way where she has a chance to not have all the pressure on her, but still stand out. She's going to be in the ring with some legends: AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair. She's going to have a chance to really make her mark in this women's match. But on top of that, coming out of that, she has a possibility to be a contender for that World Heavyweight Championship, because who's going to stop her? And if not that championship, there's an Intercontinental Championship. So I think she's being booked pretty well here, and I'm excited to see where she goes. You can fantasy book so many matches with Lash Legend, from Bianca Belair to Jade Cargill to Rhea Ripley, who she's been in the ring with. So it's going to be exciting to see her do that. And so the record was actually Texas A&M 27 rebounds. So Lash gets busy in and out of the ring.
That she does. While we're talking about the women, though, we spoke about the fact that the men's event has more heat on it, that has the most heat. Why is it that this one seems to be falling a little short when it comes to the level of excitement? I mean, because you talked about it. You have not just Lash Legend making her return, but you got AJ and Becky and that rivalry. You have the great Charlotte Flair. You've got Nia Jax and Asuka and so many other people that are there. I mean, you got some really big names. Why isn't this match seemingly getting the same kind of love that the men's match is?
I don't think it's not getting the same kind of love. I think it's been because they actually closed out Monday Night Raw, I believe, maybe within the last few weeks. But the thing you have to understand is the Bloodline is the biggest storyline in professional wrestling. It does not matter which show it's on. It does not matter who you're putting it up against. Anytime you have Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Paul Heyman, the Bloodline anywhere in there, it's going to dwarf everything possible. Now, what I do love about this match in comparison to the men's match is that you're kind of spreading the love around and you're giving more opportunities and more chances. Kairi Sane is not somebody who's been in the main event picture as much. You got Lash Legend making her appearance. Then you got the tag team titles that's going to be big within this situation also, because you have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair on one side, Lash Legend and Nia Jax with the Kabuki Warriors on that side. And then you still have the storyline with AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. On top of that, on the other side with the faces, there's still the animosity between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. So I think that this match is just as good if you're a wrestling fan and you want to see something different outside of the Bloodline. But historically, it's just you're not going to overdo Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman in any capacity. They're going to close the show, even though CM Punk recently said, and maybe also because it's his wife, but he's been advocating for women to close the show even more because he feels like it's as big. And I feel like that this match is just as big. I think the women are going to steal the show.
All right. Well, that's a very bold prediction when especially the match, at least again from my very, very casual outside view, that seems to be stealing the show is the next bout that we're going to talk about, which is that title match between John Cena and Dominic Mysterio. Not only are they getting together again, as John took the title off of Dom, Now they're doing it in the 619. You know, I mean, you're doing it in Dom City. Cena is not going to be around but a month more at most. Seems as if they're setting things up to put the title back on Dom again. Now, granted, most times when it's a big match and it's at home, the hometown person does not get the win. But it just seems like they're setting this up to be somewhat of a coordination. One question about this for you is, it's again, it seems like that they're setting it up. Could this be the actualization of the dream scenario that you came up with for Obafemi but happening for Dirty Dom?
I wish that Obafemi was getting that opportunity. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, Obafemi just returned to NXT, and him and Ricky Saints have some unfinished business. So make sure you tune into NXT because that's going to be great also. But with this, it's kind of hard to read, and it's hard to read for a couple different reasons. So John Cena is someone who constantly advocates for younger wrestlers, which is a vast difference from his earlier years. And if you don't believe me, you can look at what he did to the Nexus and other wrestlers. John Cena used to always go into business for himself. Shout out to the homie Erica E, aka your mind, because on TikTok she's always talking about it, and I'm always hating on John Cena. But whatever. Anyway, it's hard to read because John Cena literally has lately been going out to make sure that he's making stars of yesteryears as if he's giving back. Now, while it's possible he could lose this to Dom, it's hard to read because you look at like something like the match with Brock Lesnar where he got squashed and then we didn't even get a run back. And it's like, it's been unpredictable. So they could get to San Diego and they could decide, hey, Cena's going to drop the belt to Dom here in San Diego in his hometown, or they could not. Even if they don't, it's not going to affect Dom because right now Dom is so over and he's the Mega AAA champion. He doesn't really need that Intercontinental title. If he doesn't drop it, it's probably most likely going to be in his last match, which from the looks of it, I hate to say it, but it's probably going to be Gunther. Mm-hmm. So prepare yourselves. It's probably going to be Gunther. I think right now the finalists are Jey Uso, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Gunther finishing it up. So the thing is that it's probably going to be Gunther. Gunther probably going to have the Intercontinental title again, finishing off, because most likely in John Cena fashion, he's going to go out in his last match. He's going to do the honor. He's probably going to get destroyed. Gunther's going to win, and then Ring General is going to be back. So as much as I appreciate what Cena has done, I do personally feel like this last run in so many ways could have been treated a little bit better. There are certain parts of this last run that have been disappointing, that have been frustrating. I do appreciate the fact that he was able to get his Intercontinental title this time around, but it's almost like he's a sitting duck with the Intercontinental title, and we know what's going to happen. So that's the only thing about it. John Cena is completely difficult to judge as far as his booking, because you can believe Cena's going to go over, he's going to Superman his way through a match, and he ends up getting squashed. So time will tell.
Yeah,
but
he gets squashed, but he doesn't get pinned often, and that's something that for all of this, if you're really looking to put the new generation over, that would be the thing to do. I agree with you. It looks like they're gonna do Gunther all over because they really want to push him. I don't think that Solo would have gotten to the next round had it not been for the injury to Penta, and definitely. Okay, well, I definitely want to,
because you got to remember, Solo beat John Cena soundly at WrestleMania. And as great as you get a chance to see Penta and John Cena in the ring, it wouldn't have went off just as well. But I'm in agreement with you. It would be a great moment to see Dom regain his Intercontinental title at Survivor Series in his hometown. because he's over. He has they're treating him like a mini Eddie Guerrero, even though everyone knows Eddie's my favorite. So let's curb that a little bit because he ain't Eddie yet. But it would be a great
I mean,
opportunity.
they got the same hair and the same shtick.
So does Joe Dirt from the movie Joe Dirt. That don't mean
nothing, but he's not Mexican, so.
But I like I said, it would be great. It's just the unpredictability of John Cena's booking with Triple H. You never know what's going to happen. So it's best to just ride this out. But I think we're probably going to see Gunther finish him off like a cheesecake in his final match.
All right. Well, speaking of final matches, the final match that we will cover tonight, it's Legends versus the New Era. When Nikki Bella steps back into the ring in singles competition for championship for the first time since coming back to the squared circle. She will face off against the rising star who is Stephanie Vaquer. Now, in dealing with this match and in dealing with the breakout nature of things, some would think, or I should say, a lot of people kind of feel like, you said that that the breakout match will probably be the women's War Games. I kind of feel like this might be the breakout match. No. And not only do I feel that way, a number of people online feel like that too. Why do you feel that the women, or I should say, how could this be the breakout match?
It won't.
Okay, but how could it
be? It won't. I mean, you can say the question could be, how could it be? Is it the only way it could be is if they decide to pull the trigger and let Nikki Bella go over. Other than that, there's really nothing here. I mean, it's great to see Nikki come back as a heel. It's great to see this happen, but many will tell you this just feels like a bump in the road for Stephanie Vaquer to go over until she has a new challenger after Survivor Series, because so many people are still out hurt, and I believe the challenger who's going to really give her the issue, who's probably going to take the belt off her, is probably going to be Liv Morgan. If it's not Liv Morgan, it'll probably be Rhea Ripley. But here, I really don't see it. I think it's going to be great for Nikki Bella, especially because Nikki Bella works great as a heel. But they really haven't had that much back and forth. They've been like friends, so to speak, for the last couple weeks until Nikki just decided to hit her with that forearm. But you can look at Stephanie's booking so far this year. She's been booked really strong. Even her match against Tiffany Stratton, I talked about it in a TikTok video about how she just squashed Tiffany Stratton, who had basically been undefeated throughout the whole year. So Stephanie's being booked as a star. This is just a chance for her to get in the ring with the legend, prove that she is her, and for her to move on and to give Nikki an opportunity to not only show that she still got it, but to create a great build up for this and build Stephanie up even further as a star.
All right. Well, thank you for your expert knowledge regarding the world of pro wrestling. This event will take place on Saturday, the 29th of November. Make sure that you're keeping up with Will, because he loves to drop these after the match recordings that just tear up the whole internet. So make sure that you're following him for those things. Speaking of, just some things that are afterward, we're moving into our Final Fights segment. On my end, from a Final Fights perspective, you do have a boxing card going on in the UK this weekend, featuring Ben Whitaker, who wants to be the second coming of Prince Nassim Hamed. Style, yes. The power, That remains to be seen. He'll be taking on another Benjamin G. I'll say, because I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I know I'm not going to do a good job with it. Another fight on that card, kind of like the women's War Games match, where you have Lash Legend debuting. You got Meatball Molly McCann. That's right, former UFC fighter, debuting in boxing against Ebony Cotton. Those are the fights that are going on this weekend. Some fights that are also being rumored that we were planning to talk about before everything switched up over Thanksgiving. You got Devin and Rolly talking. Salute to the newly crowned Debo Devin Haney. He's no longer the Dream. He's Debo Dev now. But salute to him for what he did in his match with Lord, I want to call him Kid Austin. That is not his name. Brian Norman Jr. What he did was phenomenal as far as implementing his game plan. Was it always fun to watch? No. There were times where it was like, okay, dude, would you please throw a punch or two more? But he got the job done, and at the end of the day, is what matters most. It was funny because his father, when being asked, being impressed by Claudio Trejo, was like, hey, who do you think? Who you thinking? I know you got somebody in your mind. It was like, thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to my mama. Thank you to all my baby mamas. He just kind of danced around things. But now he's calling for Rolly Romero. Sign me up. I would love to see that fight. And on top of that, he's saying, hey, let's put this on the same card that Ryan and Barrios are going to be on. Let's fight right underneath, which again, sign me up. That would be a fight that would get my money. So, I would love to see something of that nature happen. Will it happen? Time will tell, but that was a great suggestion. And it's got the blood flowing, and people like, oh yeah, I want to see that. Another fight on that card, being the Ring 4 card, that went very well and had someone say something actually this time as soon as it was over, was David Benavidez after knocking out Yard. He said, look, next fight, Zurdo Ramirez, May the 2nd, 2026 in Vegas, which again, sign me up. I love to see that. You have Benavidez going up yet another weight class to take on, a great Mexican. So you got two big Mexicans on Mexican, or I should say, on the Battle of Puebla Day, Cinco de Mayo weekend, which has been a boxing holiday, that as well as Mexican Independence Day. But Benavidez is trying to take the spot that is being vacated by Canelo and carry those 2 days as far as fighting is concerned. Speaking of, Canelo and just rivalries in general, we know that Canelo's talking about fighting Crawford again. I mean, we'll watch it, but we've seen it, and I don't see it going much different. Something else that probably wouldn't go much different is if John Jones and DC fought. However, John was asked recently, he's like, hey, what about wrestling DC? He was like, yeah, I'll do that for charity. And DC went silent outside of saying, John, why are you over in Kyrgyzstan with with this guy who has this awful record, being Kadyrov? You shooting RPGs and not with your family on Thanksgiving, which is like, dude, you got a point there. Why are you all the way across the world and not with your family during Thanksgiving, especially seeing how much support your father and your brother could use in the loss of your big brother Art? It's like that is interesting. But John's like, look, I live in your head rent free. Utilities paid too. just keep talking. Don't worry about what I'm doing over here. You worry about you. Don't worry about me. So this Thanksgiving, I am thankful for the rivalry because it does give us something to talk about in what could be somewhat slower times. Now,
definitely
on the wrestling end, what should we be looking out for?
Honestly, the big thing this weekend is going to be that Survivor Series card. I would say make sure that you also tune into the pre-show. A lot of time the pre-show will give you little nuggets to give you a precursor of what may happen afterwards, because Survivor Series is literally what we're getting right before the Royal Rumble. And as we know, the Royal Rumble leads into WrestleMania season, which is going to be amazing also. I've heard a lot of your questions and comments. I am going to start covering AEW. That AEW pay-per-view previously was amazing, but I will say Hangman did not need to lose that title as early as he did. I'm a big Samoa Joe fan, but I don't like the way that they're booking him. But we're going to get into it more through some TikTok videos and the main card.
All right. Well, the ball is in your court, sir. Or you know what? We're doing things a little differently, so I'll take it. We want to say thank you so much to everyone for tuning into the main card. As I was sharing earlier, this is your Beatdown Bulletin. This is your Pugilist playlist. This is where you go to find out what's going on in the world of fights this week and what to look out for as you're watching fights. You know, no one wants to go to the barbershop and say something stupid, you know, and look like, well, you don't know anything about fill in the blank. When it comes to fights, you'll be able to speak intelligibly as long as you keep listening to us, as well as pro wrestling. You will have that information that you need to speak to the trolls online when they say that the best to ever do it was Gunther. When they say that in 10 years, you'll be able to speak against that because you're listening to the main card. But we are more than the main card here at MTMV. We are the throne room with Queen Marva, who this week was at the Bayou Classic. We are the full 94, where we talked about the NBA Cup, the retirement of CP3, and whether or not Steph Curry should be in your top 10. We are. Stop stepping on my lines.
I just had to say it. My bad, man. My bad.
We are not the same podcast. Salute to them who cover everything from sports to faith to music to Bible studies, the whole gamut, as well as our coverage of the WNBA through I was gonna say not the same. It's not the same. It's through Sports Talk with C, as well as through My Dream with the head honcho, Rick Sincere. So many shows, so many sports. You get it all here through MTMV. Anything for the good of the people before we go.
Until next time, fight the good fight. What's going on, family? It's your man, Wildress.
And it's your man, the myth, the legend, the voice.
And you just finished watching the main card on the MTMV network.
Yeah, for more great shows just like this, smash the subscribe button and keep fighting the good fight.